Hello, good day everyone. Welcome to this wonderful rando race between Zelgadissan and Illus. This is gonna be game 2. Game 1 has been won by Zelga, so it's definitely it's anybody's game, but Zelga is in the advantage. I'm White Wiki, and with me today I have Slim Kirby. Kirby, how you doing, dude?
I am doing absolutely fine today, Mr. Wardwicki. It's been a great day of randomizer races. Just got off 2 other races that finished up. We now have 5 of our top 8. This is a top 16 matchup we have right here. Zelgadissan has a chance to be the 6th member of the top 8, but Illus has a chance to shut him down. Let's go ahead and get this started.
Yes, and we start off with a key in the sanctuary. That's interesting.
And it is worth mentioning that this is the change that has been made for Game 2 by Illus is map and cut compass shuffle, as I like to call it, kind of diet key sanity. So basically, key sanity without the keys. Maps and compasses are shuffled across the overworld and other dungeons, and we can get some intel from those items, but yeah, that kind of opens up dungeons a little more. There's more items we can find in dungeons, and that is what Illus has decided to pick for us today. Yeah, let's see what happens with that.
Yeah, and Zelga defeating that soldier to get the tier 1 pull, same with Illus, but Zelga actually got a full magic out of it.
Ooh, wow, that is very, very nice. If we get one of those very useful magic items early on, that could be a bit of an advantage to kind of clearing out some of those early areas. Inside the tree here, just 20 rupees. Going to go ahead and pick that up just because we are still kind of needing some rupees here in the early game at the very least. And yeah, with that, we are off to Kakariko, where there's going to be a huge volume of checks here. Pretty standard routing for both runners, but at this point it makes sense. A lot of items here. Kind of gives you an idea of where the seed could be taking you, at least in the early game. Good chance to find those dark gold items too, so yeah, definitely a solid familiar play to go with. And ooh, very nice find, first chest there. Get some bombs that we can open up the back wall, and we also get the Quake medallion as well.
Yeah, finding bombs there is really convenient considering what they have right now. And they also found Quake, which might come in handy later on. We don't know.
And we do find the Compass of Thieves Town. Compass is probably not going to be that valuable to these runners. Compasses in this mode will give you kind of an item count for when you're in the dungeon that it belongs to. But these guys have played so many randos, they know what items are in which dungeons, so they're not going to be too concerned with that. The maps, on the other hand, that will give us pendant and crystal information, so those are a bit of a different story there.
Yeah, maps are definitely the things that they're looking out for at this point, at least in this variation.
Okay, we also get, well, first of all, we got 300 rupees. Again, still in that early game rupee grind, so that's good. And we also find the powder. Can't check that yet without the hammer, but if we do happen to find the hammer somewhere in here, that'd make Magic Bat a pretty nice check to make. And just got a piece of heart on the bottle vendor.
And so far, nothing really interesting, but mostly helpful items, I would say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And Zelga actually managing to go get some bombs. Makes sense. He's down to 0, and he might see a mini Moldorm cave in his future, so that'd be a decent check. And Illus is going to do the same thing right after pulling that 50 rupees from the tavern. Guess that might have been a good sign to actually go get those bombs, honestly.
Yeah, I think Illus was just checking if they could find the bombs in the tavern.
Oh, yeah, that's a fair point too, definitely. Yeah.
Library check is nothing, and then we're gonna see what race game has for us today.
None of them are going to take the gamble on it, and it is good they do. Full heart, definitely nice, but not going to give us any progression, so they're going to just put that away and not really be concerned with that. Both starting from Link's house now. We have not seen that. I do not like getting a bottle there, especially when you do a full Sanctuary start, because now you have one check in Kakariko that's kind of left alone for a little bit, and that could have easily been one of our progression items.
Yeah, it can feel a little bit like a stab in the back, finding that they're after done Kakariko.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you can also kind of hope that you find the hammer, and that way you at least have the magic bat to check alongside the sick kids. So that's always something.
Yeah, either that or hope that later on you'll have the mirror when you enter Thieves Town, actually. Or at least Village of Outcasts.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so Mini Moldrum Cave had 2 maps, one for Easter and one for Meyer, I believe, and the flute. That's very handy.
Yeah, in fact, you know, I kind of actually do like this play by Illus right here. He's going to immediately go back to activate the flute, more than likely check the bottle item as well. And you really don't lose a whole lot of time because, I mean, you have to go back to Kakariko at some point, and then you just get the advantage of the flute from the get-go. You can just kind of start getting around those overworld checks a lot faster, and it's honestly worth the trip. Meanwhile, just getting a compass from inside Agina's cave, so Zelda kind of lacking a little behind here, but still, I mean, this is very, very early in the match, so it's, you know, too soon to say that's going to make a big difference at this time.
So Zelda now following Illus' footsteps, and Illus is gonna check Sick Kid immediately, which very logical. Getting another bottle, okay, interesting.
Well, hey, we have a safety item, I guess. Revival if we happen to run into any problems, but that also means if we want a Death Warp, we'd have to get rid of that too, so I guess too soon to say that right now. And yeah, it looks like Zelda is actually he's gonna. Oh no, he is doing the same thing. Okay, for a minute the icon looked like it was still on his house, but nope, he moved the sanctuary. So yeah, he's gonna activate the flute as well, and more than likely going to be doing whatever Illus does next. And looks like he is going to. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Take care of this loose square while you're kind of still thinking about it. And you have the flute, which takes care of all that travel distance. So yeah, as chat is pointing out, oh well, hammer. That's a good item to find right there.
Well, this opens up Batcave that you talked about earlier.
Definitely does. But anyway, as chat was saying, flute does make the mountain a little more inviting because that gives us kind of our logical access up there. But you know, we still have eastern area. We still have escape, and that's looks to be where Illus is going, to the front of escape here. And Zelda going to be picking up his hammer shortly as well.
Yeah, Illus with the map check. Was that? It was a pendant, but was that the green one? I couldn't see the color.
Seems like others are seeing EP green. I did not even see the map check on my end, unfortunately. But
Speaking of maps, there's
yeah.
another one.
Okay, so we got the map of Skullwoods.
But yeah, once again, talking about that Death Mountain being interesting, especially with the hammer, a lot of more checks are coming into play there.
They would, but we just do not have a way to get to where the hammer would be useful. We don't have hookshot or mirror yet, so...
Oh right, I forgot the mirror. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so our first item out of escape is a tiny level 1 shield. Not what they're looking for at all.
It follows a trend of being quote-unquote helpful items.
Yeah.
Although the tiny shield isn't that helpful, honestly.
Yeah, it's better utilized with like the level 2 shield, so you can at least like block fireballs in some of those more annoying dungeon rooms and on blind.
Yes, exactly. And Illus, they're releasing the ferry, setting up for Death Warp.
Mm-hmm. Yep, good thing he remembered that, because you can definitely waste a lot of time on those Death Warps if you happen to die with a ferry in your hand.
So over on Illus screen, we're gonna see a whole bunch of nothing and just guessing what the item is going to be, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. Unfortunately, in open mode, unlike standard mode, which lights it no matter what, without that lamp, we're not going to be able to see anything in here, so gonna have to work your way through these rooms. Can be kind of difficult, especially with the item sets we have right now. We don't have a sword to really show where we are. There's a lot of enemies that can just kind of bump you all over the place, so it can be really, really obnoxious, but I think he's doing all right. I think, yeah, he's in the right area right now, so he's about there.
Oh, it looks like it was ether.
Okay, that's a pretty nice find. Don't know if we need that yet, but could very much be required. And yeah, looks like Zelda gonna be making the same play here, so once again, gonna see a whole lot of nothing on his end. Except maybe a few bombs or hammer hits every now and then. It's kind of cool seeing the difference of how these runners navigate these rooms. Illus used the hammer, and Zelda actually using bombs to kind of pinpoint his location.
Oh, and Zelda actually going through with it, going to the back of his cave.
He does, yeah, he did have that small key, and oh, and finding the lamp over in Saswala's closet over there. Of course.
And at least puts it back into logic.
Mm-hmm. And you know, it is interesting because, you know, this is a scenario where gloves could be back here, and that might be the only way to get to the back of escape at this point. because we don't have the gloves to open up the back way. So this could actually be required, and this can actually give Zelda back some time. Looks like he's having a hard time finding that last rat, though, with the keys, so that's going to be a little problematic. We got it, though. See, on Zelga's side, he really wants to see the gloves right now. That would be a really good find. Ooh, unfortunately 2 compasses and a red rupee, so... He at least has the satisfaction knowing the escape section is cleared out, but did not really get a whole lot aside from that Ether Medallion, and Illus got that as well, so... Gonna be moving on to Eastern 2, as Illus finds the single arrow here in Eastern.
Looks like Zelda is first gonna go to Batcave, I think.
Okay, interesting. I mean, we got both items to get this very early. It could be definitely pointing to something. Ooh.
That's spicy.
That is very spicy. That's gonna definitely change his routing now. He's gonna be going straight up to the mountain at this rate. He has the tools to enter Tower of Hera. He can check the east side of Death Mountain. That was a very, very good find for Zelda.
The only downside for Zelda at this point, but Zelda doesn't know, of course, but if Zelda checked Sahasrah's closet, Zelda would actually be able to beat Tower of Hera already.
Right, yeah, it would be the satisfaction of being able to full clear that on the first go, which he will not have. But then, who knows, could get lucky with that, maybe that small key being locked behind itself. That can happen, so...
Illus finding pretty much nothing in EP, I believe.
Yeah, I did not see anything on his end either. Major notes. It looks like we did get 2 crystals in the Dark World in Mire and Skull Woods from those other 2 maps we've gotten, so... That's some good information. Well, for right now, don't have to worry about the basement, but again, we do not want to see that small key, because at this point, if we do see that small key, this being map and compass shuffle, we know there is going to be an item in the basement, so that is the last thing we want to find right now. At least if you're Zelda, anyway.
Yeah, that's always gonna play a part in the back of your head, missing an item there. Illus rescuing the old man, getting some cash for it in exchange.
And on Zelka's end, he's going to start the Moldorm fight. Does not have a sword, but honestly, these days, I feel like Hammer is honestly kind of better than the sword. You don't have to worry about that enraged states, and, you know, you have to get a little close to Moldorm, but I feel like it's still reasonable enough, and we pulled a Cane of Samaria, and we also did not find the small key, so there is nothing in that basement that we have to worry about.
And knowing that Maya is a crystal, Samaria is required.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that's definitely a good find.
Mm-hmm. And with that done, we're going to start checking the kind of east side of Death Mountain. At this point, we still only have one of our Dark World items. We have the hammer, but we still need the glove and the moon pearl to do anything in that area, so still need to find that at some point. With both of those items, really. Zelga actually using some good game knowledge right there, going to that entrance of Paradox Cave, so we can use the mirror to delete that block. And inside the first two chests of Paradox Cave, we do find the Moon Pearl, so that's two of our Dark World items now. And there's the third one!
Death Mountain was the play after all.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, and that map of Tower of Hera that's gonna come in very handy. Moldorm is a little less kind to Illus today, but Illus does make it through the fight and gets his first crystal. Honestly, not too far behind Zelga. Again, really just kind of behind that eastern dip at this point. So, you know, definitely going to be... I can see both runners kind of following each other, or at least at this point, Illus following Zelga for the next part of this seed. We'll have to see if any other interesting divergences come up a bit later. Zelga doing a bunch of chest turns in the Hype Cave. I'm getting a mushroom, which, I mean, fetch quest? It might be necessary, you never know.
Yeah, and if he wants to like go all the way up to the right side, which I don't imagine he's going to do, but first he is going to check what the 5 and 6 crystals are. But if he goes to Catfish, he can take care of the mushroom along the way, and we find out that our red crystals are going to be in Palace of Darkness and Swamp Palace today, so that's 2 more crystals we have the information for. And our good friend Old Stumpy just has a piece of heart. Looking at the health, like, we only have 5 hearts for both runners, but I have to keep reminding myself that we are still only, like, 24 minutes into the run. It's still quite early, so I guess that's not too surprising.
It's early game, and they both skipped at least a heart container and a few heart pieces at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true.
And besides that, especially with Bloomo, I think these players are experienced enough to just survive with low hearts.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, that Swamp Palace map would have been nice if we didn't already get that information from the bomb shop guy. Ooh, and yeah, Zelda actually going to be turning in that mushroom immediately. And it pays off with even more defense. And yeah, I know the saying, everyone always says, you know, red mail's for cowards, but I feel like, you know, this early on, you don't know where the heart pieces or hearts are going to end up being. We've already skipped a couple. It's not a bad thing to say no to, mail, this early on.
Yeah, I don't blame them for picking that up.
Mm-hmm. If we were later in the seed, yeah, I could see skipping it, potentially, but...
So now we're gonna get a few Village of Outcast checks, and most likely it's Thieves Town, although we don't know if that's a crystal or pendant yet.
Yeah, that is unfortunately information we do not have at this point, but, you know, it is it's not really that long of a dungeon. With the removal of maps and compasses from the generic dungeon pool, like that's 6 items in here instead of the usual 4. I think it's definitely worth checking out. And if you get a crystal, hey, you got a crystal from it, so.
True, true. And Illus actually opting to go for Pyramid check.
Okay, interesting. I like it. I like seeing divergences like this.
Illus probably gonna go to Catfish, turn in the Mushroom, maybe even check the Zora area. I mean, Illus doesn't have enough rupees yet, but who knows?
Yeah, it's true. Catfish could always pay off with like 100 or something, so we'll have to see. Of course, though, he is also going to turn the mushroom in, as we do find a sword here in Thieves Town. Honestly, not a bad place to find a sword. You know, we have red mail, we can do hammer. I'm sure Zelda can handle hammer blind just fine, but with the sword, you have blind script that you can easily do every single time. So that's definitely something you want to find early on for this dungeon.
Let's see what our dear friend Catfish has for our runners today.
On the last seed, he had the hammer. This time, just a heart container for these guys. Oh boy, I think we're getting some splash deletion strats here.
Wow, nice.
So yeah, basically my understanding on that is essentially you saw him use a bunch of his different items, basically creating a bunch of sprites on screen. And through all those sprites, when he jumps in the water, because of the sprite overload, it kind of removes the splash effect of jumping in the water, and as a result, it just does not load the kind of drowning information, so it kind of gives you like a bit of a fake flipper state going on there.
Yeah, and Illus beating those crabs, hoping to find the 20, but very unfortunate not getting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta try though. You gotta try. It's like you're this close. You don't want to have to revisit it, but just did not quite get what he was looking for there. Anyway, once again, looking on Zelda's side, I think we got a bottle somewhere in here, and I had that sword from earlier, but that's really about it.
Yeah, I think there was a bottle with a green potion. That was the first find, and then the sword, and yeah, nothing really else, I believe.
Yeah. But he is approaching the blind fight now, and we'll see if we end up getting something, or at least even a crystal for this.
And it seems like, well, first of all, a good blind fight from Zelda. But it seems like there's another divergence where Illus opting to go for Skull Woods, knowing it's a crystal.
Again, it's that thing. You gotta consider the item density of dungeons when you're doing map and compass shuffle. You know, Skull Woods normally has 2 items. In map and compass shuffle, it has 4. So you know, more likely to find something, even potentially that fire rod in its vanilla dungeon. So definitely not a bad check at all.
No, not at all. And it seems like Thieves Town was a crystal as well, so that means we now know 6 out of the 7 crystals.
And if I am either of these runners, I would want to make that Turtle Rock one probably the last, or one of the pendants and not the last crystal. But and we'll have to see. Ooh, I think we found our gloves here in Skull Woods. Our second pair of gloves, anyway.
That opens up a bunch of new locations for runners, so that's good.
Yeah, and thankfully our runners do have the mirror, so it does allow them to do the blacksmith chain a little more effectively. Don't have to worry about saving and quitting every few seconds.
It also opens up Desert Palace for them now.
That is true. Yeah, it does.
Although we don't know yet if they're actually able to beat it because of not having boots yet. Might be boot locked, I believe.
Yep, it can still be boot locked, and on top of that, Zelda doesn't even have his fire source yet, so he wouldn't even be able to finish it anyway.
Right, Zelda still hasn't seen Sashula yet.
But yeah, something new I like pointing out, just because, you know, last tournament wasn't on this version. But yeah, the chest that Zelda just opened, in this version of the logic, it's no longer, like, always going to be a small key. They actually kind of changed the logic around a bit, so there's, like, different types of placement settings. And in this particular setting, that chest is can be something other than a small key sometimes.
Yeah, Zelda just checking Bumper Cave Ledge and now going to the Graveyard Ledge, getting those locations out of the way.
Yeah, it makes sense, and with the convenience of the myths, right after he checks this Graveyard Ledge, he can just flute back to 3 and then kind of continue along the bottom path, check out the blacksmith chain, and from there, even if he wants to even go to desert, like you mentioned, and check the mire area, that's something he can do right now.
So let's see what Zelda has in mind for now.
Okay, desert and mire it is. Gonna check the ledge first. Just a map. Could be some good intel. We still looking for one of those the last crystal dungeon as you mentioned before.
And it looked like Misery Mire, you need to have Quake for Misery Mire. They have that, but there's still no way to clear the first room without Hookshot or Boot.
Yep, that is true. We are missing that, unfortunately. Even if we had one of those 2 items, it's still not even a guarantee either if the big key is in one of the torch rooms, at least for Zelga's side anyway. But it does pick up the map. It is for Dark Palace. Once again, we do have that info already from the bomb shop guys, so not going to be too helpful for Zelda right now. But we're going to hop in the desert, see what we can find, see if we're going to be boots locked immediately or not. And we are.
But this still doesn't mean boots are actually required to beat the seed because of not knowing what desert it actually is.
Right. And honestly, this does kind of work out for Zelda just because he doesn't have the fire source anyway, so even if he did have the big key, like, he wouldn't be able to go to the boss regardless, so that's honestly not the worst case scenario for him.
Fair point. Zelda getting a lot of money. I think the seed is telling him something.
Yeah, of course, rupees aren't actually, like, logically, like, placed in logic whatsoever, but still, like, you always get that feeling, like, okay, well, now I have the money to go to Zora. This would be a good time to... It's an indirect way to tell you something, I guess.
Yeah, and I think Zelga's now opting to go for the blacksmith chain, by the looks of it.
Yeah, at this point I could see him kind of doing the blacksmith chain, like going up to, and then if he wants to, he can kind of go towards the pod area after he's done with all of that. I think we still also have to see Dark Death Mountain 2. There could be something in the Super Bunny Cave.
Oh, yeah, there's also hammer pegs. I didn't even consider that. Right.
Yeah, it's one of those things you always kind of lump in there with, like, the blacksmith chain, because you're always going to do this alongside the blacksmith chain if you're going for that. Oh, and Illus actually not picking up that map.
Yeah, and I believe that was the map for Swamp Palace, which would have been
Yeah.
good information for Illus, because Illus didn't check the 5-6 crystal yet at the bomb.
Okay, so the last check we have remaining of the blacksmith chain is the purple chest. We bring it all the way here to get just a red rupee, so once again, still on the look for that next line of progression. And looks like he is going to the eastern and pod area.
And now I wonder, because Zelda is probably gonna pick up the fire source in Sasha's hut, but I'm also wondering, would Zelda first go for EP or for pod?
I mean, that's a good question. I feel like you'd get locked out of pod faster if like there is some kind of like bow lock or something. So maybe check that first, just really quickly. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I think pod might be more logical, because pod is a crystal and EP is a pendant.
Mm-hmm.
So that also just makes the pod play better. Well, quote unquote better. You never know what is the better play, but it makes more sense.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, item density, because again, map compass shuffle, it's 7 versus 5 potential items. But again, that also assumes you get the bow in one of those item locations anyway.
Yeah, what Chet is pointing out, they also, at least Zelda has the green goods, so can do like the bottle glitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And like, even if we're not logically supposed to get the bow from here, there could be another bow back here that's behind the first bow. So you know, that's something you also got to think about as well. So definitely. Oh, and immediately.
Oh! I mean, that opens up Skull Woods. At least the
It
back
does.
of
Yes. But Zelga is going to keep on going. I mean, you know, logically, like anything he finds beyond this point is going to be out of logic until he finds that first bow. But still, he can still dip this. There's still a lot of items to find here. Not a bad call, I'd say. I think it's definitely worth trying to stick around and see what you can find while you're here. There's our other way into desert, and also a way we can check the tablets as well.
And we can check pad.
We can also check pedestal, that is true. And that's something we can do very soon, because we just got the fire rod to finish up Skullwood, so that'd be perfect. Okay, so we are getting about to be done with these Palace of Darkness checks for Zelda. He does have, like, some chests he has to open in the front, kind of in that little basement big key area, but I think just based on the items he's found so far, I think he knows that those are going to be small keys, so he's going to just get right out of there with those flippers now, and has another item.
So at least we know the flippers are bow locked,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting.
So yeah, at this point we know that there could still be a bow behind the flippers. It could be the second. Oh, we know it couldn't because of that. Yeah, we know there's not going to be a bow in like swamp or ice, unless it's again that second silver progressive bow. And yeah, basically after finding Fire Rod, Zelga is going to go straight to here, finish up Skullwoods. It is a crystal, and yeah, he'll have the ability to check the pedestal as well, just to make sure this is not a ped seed, and if it is, he can at least get mentally prepared for it and kind of know what he'll need to finish out the rest of this seed. Chat joking that we can now see whether or not Ganon's Tower is a crystal or pendant, because we have found the GT map now.
I mean, it's very important to know that.
I mean, yeah.
So if I'm correct, this is either the last item or the big key for Skullwood. I don't think we found that yet.
Right, I don't think we have either. Well, let us see. It is the big key. Yep. Now, I will admit I haven't been paying the most attention to like the small keys, because there are technically 3 of them for Skullwoods.
Me neither.
So we'll see if Zelga goes for the big chest. That means he does not. He does have all the small keys, or did collect them all at least. Oh, and Zelga not actually checking the pedestal. Well, all those people kind of hoping to expect a blind poll. I mean, I guess he's keeping your dreams alive.
Zelga going for the big chest, so expecting an item here.
Yeah. Oh!
Oh!
There it is!
Does this... I mean, we don't know where the other bow is, but this might be a forced double dip on pod.
I think it is at this point, yeah. I mean, you are right. There is still another one out there, but wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, this is big.
Definitely inconvenient, but that's the way Randomizer goes. It doesn't take convenience into consideration. That's if it can logically be placed somewhere, it can logically be placed somewhere.
Can you imagine the other bow being on Zora?
I mean, we're gonna find that out shortly. That's exactly what Zelga's doing next. Oh, okay, we haven't seen that yet. We have our second sword upgrade on the Zora ledge. Illus did not actually take a gander at that yet, so... yep, that is a second sword. That's means they're going to be good on swords. You only need 2 to complete the game. Oh, man.
Oh.
Zelga is just finding all the right paths in this seed.
Yeah, once Illus decides to go up to Zora and finding those boots, it's gonna probably feel behind.
And understandably so. It was very close. It was only, I think, 20 rupees away from being able to check Zora when he was up there earlier. And he is actually going into Ice Palace next.
Okay, that's interesting. The second bow being in King's Tomb, which I believe means that a pot double dip is not required. Because you... Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't
pot double
required.
Dip wasn't technically...
You're correct.
And yeah, the flippers were bow locked, but you don't need flippers to get to Zora.
Yeah, Zora would have been blocked by the first gloves in this case. It's definitely a lot to think about, guys. That's This is what these runners go through, like, every day when they're playing these matches. You know, thinking about the logic, thinking about how things are placed, thinking about all the different ways you can get to items. It's definitely a lot to kind of comprehend and to keep track of all the different intricacies, but yeah.
I think soon we're gonna find out if Desert is a crystal or a pendant.
I think so too. I mean, Zelga's getting the big key. He's going to be going for the completion of this dungeon. And honestly, I do really like this play of checking this now, you know, seeing if you can maybe get that final crystal accounted for. Because you're also next to the Mire area. That's an assured crystal you're going to get. So it's a good way to kind of, you know, still get 1 crystal at the very least, but, you know, maybe even get 2. Or he's gonna check the Mire area first anyway. But, I mean, he's still in the area at least.
Probably just checking that for that 1 item. Maybe hoping to find a map in Misery Mire, knowing what the last crystal is.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah, because if he gets the map, he can save time by just checking it after he's done with this. So yeah, that's a good point.
Illus finding bombos in ice, which is, I mean, at least Illus now knows that if Turtle Rock is required, they can enter, but...
Yeah, and then we could have a scenario where we do not, like you said, we don't know Turtle Rock's medallion yet, and if Illus kind of follows that, and that leads to the remaining items that he needs, and Zelga just so happens to last location those items, that could give Illus an advantage back. So you got to think about all the different things here and kind of use what you find to your advantage. So just have to see how that pays out for him.
Oh, there's a
my-
Desert Palace map! Wow!
What a call. What a call.
This is only valuable, though, if Desert turns out to be a crystal.
Right.
Well, I mean, if it's a pendant, then Zelda is probably not gonna go further into Desert, so...
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, like, there is one item at the end of Desert still, so, you know, it's still something to think about, I guess, even if it is a pendant, but, yeah, you'll definitely feel less inclined to do it, for sure, if it ends up being a pendant. Anyway, Illus gonna start his fight against Cold Stare. Gonna be a pretty tricky fight, only having Fighter Sword to work with. He does have the hammer, too, obviously, so he's probably gonna be using that and his half magic with Fire Rod to deal some damage.
Yeah, very, very nice fight there.
I may have overlooked the fact that he had half magic. That was actually a lot easier than I was kind of making it out to be.
And... Ooh. It's a pendant, which means either Desert or Turtle Rock is gonna be the crystal. It's a 50-50 now.
Yeah, so we'll know exactly what we need for this seed after Zelda finishes Meyer, because that's probably going to be the first thing he's going to check, what Desert is.
So, I didn't specifically check what if Ice Palace by logic is hookshot locked, but if it is, or if it isn't, well, either way, this only, if it isn't, this only plays out if hookshot is on pedestal at this point, I think.
Right.
Or Ice Rod if Turtle Rock is a crystal.
Okay, so Illus picks up the boots. Gonna go get the Master Sword now as Zelda finishes up the Vitreous fight. We know it's gonna be a crystal, and we know we're also gonna get the shovel as well.
And Desert is the last crystal.
Okay, so with that, we are literally just looking for the hook shot. Because, yeah, Turtle Rock is a pendant, so we do not need the Ice Rod. Unless, again, that hook shot being potentially on pedestal or something, or, again, assuming if the hook shot logic of Ice Palace didn't come into play. Then yeah, that's pretty much all we're looking for right now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Zelda grabbed the big key, because, yeah, he went back in the desert before he went to Meyer again. Or for the first time.
Very nice silver fight from Zelga on the La Mola.
Yeah, definitely. Did it on the first cycle. That's what you want to see. And with that, Zelga is heading back into the pod eastern area. Just has to finish up. There's a couple checks he has in pod. Needs to kind of go around again the kind of the bow lock, even though he has bow, so it's not really bow lock anymore. But the mimic side, just to kind of get around to where those other chests are, because I think he does need a small key to even approach the boss. So does need to do that. I think there's only going to be one item, maybe two, depending on how many small keys he's gotten. And then, of course, he has the entire eastern area to go through, since he was not here. That he wasn't there earlier, so that's what he's got on the table. Very nice Samaria block kick to get that switch.
Yeah, I've never seen that strat before. That was really cool to see.
But yeah, and looking at Zelga's compass right now, he only has 11 out of 14 checks. He's going to get his 12th from Helmasaur. The reason why he has more is that he's deduced from the small keys that he's gotten in this dungeon so far that the rest of the chests are going to be small keys. So because of that, he's just going to go straight to Helma and then pretty much be done after that.
Very clean fight there from Zelga.
And with that, that'll give Zelga his 6 crystals. So now he's going to be playing a little game that all rando runners don't really like playing, but where is that last item I need to finish this seed?
It's gonna be interesting to see what Zelga does. Is Zelga gonna check some overworld locations? Is Zelga gonna go to the swamp? Yeah, to the swamp area. Maybe check the Bombos tablet and then go into swamp anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious.
And just hoping that Hookshot is there. It seems like Dark Death Mountain.
And like, it is interesting because, you know, he was right at Eastern Palace. He has not seen anything in Eastern Palace yet. And, you know, it being the green pendant, that's actually 6 items. The 5 items you have in there with Map and Compass Shuffle on, and the green pendant item itself. So, you know, definitely going to go straight for this. I guess he kind of sees, like, value in these Dark Death Mountain checks, as well as Turtle Rock, since he doesn't know what the medallion is yet. Also, Ether Tablet. Okay, we got either, so both of our medallions were kind of switched around from what they would be in the vanilla version of the game. Turtle Rock is opened. Do not have the Ice Rod, so we can't complete it, but Ice Rod could very well be in the dungeon by itself. And of course, we don't necessarily need to complete it, because Turtle Rock is a pendant. We're just looking for that hook shot we need for Swamp.
Yes, and this also means that the Bombos tablet Illus found is just worthless.
So yeah, unfortunately without the hookshot, can't check the remaining 3 chests in Hookshot Cave, so just gonna grab that first item and then head over to Super Bunny next. Oh, what a lovely Super Bunny cave that was. 2 pieces of heart, but no hookshot.
Zelda now actually gonna make the TR play.
It's a strong play. Map and Compass means 7 items plus 1 at Mimic Cave. Okay, and I love seeing that from Zelda. He didn't muscle memory. He realized he did not have the hookshot, so has to kind of go around the slightly slower way, but this is the way you need to go if you don't have the hookshot, because otherwise you're not going to make it back in time.
Illus getting a little bit trolled by the Lemolas there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lenno's doing a lot of short hops today. Also doesn't have the silvers, so doesn't have the opportunity to just one-shot each of the snakes. Has to use 2 fire rod shots on each of them, which is still, not bad. You can still get them pretty quickly, but if they start giving you those short hops, it can be a little more difficult. Anyway, that is actually the 4th crystal pickup for Illus. Has the capabilities of getting 2 more crystals, and I imagine that's what he's going to be focusing on next. We'll have to see if he decides to. I imagine he will, since he's still looking for the hookshot, obviously. But making sure you pick up those silvers along the way here in Skull Woods once you get the big key. You know what? I can't believe I'm getting ready to ask this question, but have we seen Lumberjack Tree yet?
Yeah, I think Illus checked that, and it was a piece of heart, I believe.
Okay. Okay, just making sure.
But yeah, you were thinking of an Agassiz.
Well, a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's just I did not remember it being checked, and that would have been an interesting location because I remember them both starting the sanctuary route, but it just did not remember that tree check.
Yeah, I believe Illus checked it alongside the bumper cave ledge check.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's probably what happened then. Because yeah, I thought they both went to the forest immediately. So
They did, yeah.
okay, so here we have Laser Bridge, a very, very heavy location here in Turtle Rock. I knew one of them was going to be the small key, but we have two other chests here.
Wow! It's not a hook shot, but this is... Oh my god.
I mean, I'd expect that in a seed where ice rod's required.
Oh, hook shot
it
on...
could be, yeah.
Hook shot on Trinex.
Also, we are getting a ped check from Illus as well, so we'll see what... Okay, just couch cash.
Yeah. So that means the Ice Palace play was just nothing from Illus. But then again, the Turtle Rock play might be empty as well. I mean, yeah, it has Ice Rod, but if Trinex doesn't have the hook shot, it's not necessary at all.
Yeah, if Trinex is nothing here, then yeah, this was a bit of a time sink for Zelda. Now, of course, Illus can't make that same time sink if he wants to capitalize on that.
Ooh. So what locations do we have left for that hook shot?
We have Armos Knights and the Green Pendants. We have it's potentially being in Swamp.
I also think we still have Dig Spot and Bombo Stablet left. And Spike Cave.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't really think of any other locations.
Yeah, I can't think of anything either. So, you know, depending on how these next checks pay out, like Illus is not out of this yet. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah, if it turns out to be the Green Pendant, for example, and Illus dips into EP after doing Pod, it might all be possible.
Yeah. Okay, just a piece of heart in Spy Cave. Because, yeah, if Zelda gets lured to Ice Palace next, then it's... Well, I mean, Turtle Rock's on the table for Illus, obviously, but, you know, the time could be evening out quite a bit.
Also, there's still this thing that Illus doesn't know that Swamp is a crystal yet. Because Illus never checked the bomb shop and just completely skipped the map in the digging game.
That is true, yeah.
But I don't know if Illus knows that TR is a pendant or not. Because I don't know if they picked up the map yet.
Right, I don't... Yeah, because we got that information through the desert reveal, so...
I mean, Zelda knows, but Illus maybe not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Zelda gonna check out the shovel spot now. Or the dig spot, rather. I guess technically the shovel spot's Stumpy, but whatever. Swag. And a heart container.
And I think it's gonna be Bombo's tablet into Swamp probably for Zelda now.
Mm-hmm.
Or not? Right, Zelda hasn't done Pyramid and Catfish yet.
Oh, that is true, he hasn't.
And Hobo. Wait, did either of them check Hobo?
I feel like Illus did. I think Illus came back later. Like before he went to Ice Palace to check it. But yeah, Zelda hasn't.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's right. He did Hobo, then he went to Ice Palace, then he did Zora.
Yeah, I remember now, yeah.
Okay, so with that, Illus is picking up the 6th crystal. So we are tied once again at crystal count.
Yeah, it's a hookshot hunt. The one who finds hookshot first is likely ahead.
Right, for sure. And it's also interesting because, you know, they both have dungeons that we know are not going to help them. Like, Zelda hasn't done Ice, we know that's useless. Illus hasn't done TR, we know that's useless. Illus is not going to EP. Illus is heading south.
Yeah. Oh.
Alright, okay, Illus is going back up here.
Yeah, probably dig spot. And maybe checking the last crystal, because Illus knows that he's missing a 5-6 crystal. And now knowing that Swamp is the last crystal.
Right, yeah.
And Zelda going into Ice.
Oh, and Illus going to the mountain. They're both.
Oh no!
They're both going to pendant dungeons that we know aren't gonna have anything.
Oh no! Well, maybe Illus is just gonna check Spike Key. No, never mind. Maybe only Bombo, or yeah, Bombo's Either tablet, and well, Dark Death Mountain, and probably, yeah, probably Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I feel like once he sees that, you know, Turtle Rock, I mean, he has all the medallions to open it, so that doesn't really matter, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of items in there. It's too tempting to just not leave on the table. So yeah, Zelga's dip through Ice Palace, I feel like, will be a lot shorter than Illus's dip through Turtle Rock, so I still say advantage Zelda right now.
Especially because I think Illus is gonna check the overworld on Death Mountain here first before dipping into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, definitely. Zelda doing pretty much my favorite strat in Ice Palace, just dropping 2 bombs and bonking over the penguins to just get a very quick and free and easy kill on all of them.
Yeah, we know that they're not even gonna find useful items in here.
Yeah.
Illus is gonna find Ice Roll, and that's about it.
Yeah, and as we know, the Ice Rod only leads to 10 smaller, pointier things and 10 arrows, and not the actual pointy thing we're looking for. So yeah, I guess while we're kind of watching both runners and kind of tackling stuff the other runners already done, just a reminder that this is a top 16 matchup of the Link to the Past Randomizer tournament in the bracket stage. We are getting close to the final weeks and matches of this tournament. Both players putting on a phenomenal show today, really broadcasting why they're in this tournament. Very competitive field. Very competitive qualifier group, and as we're seeing here, bracket stage. This is currently game 2. Zelda won game 1 the other day. With that game 1 win, Illus was able to change from one setting for this game 2, picked Map and Compass Shuffle. Which is why you're seeing all those wonderful maps and compasses on the treasures in this game. And if Zelda wins this game, he will be advancing to the top 8. Illus, if he wins, he'll be able to force a game 3 for one last chance to move on to that top 8. And that's currently what we're dealing with here. We're looking for that hook shot to see who will be the winner of this game.
Now, is Zelda gonna go to Swamp or Eastern? That's the real question.
Well, at this point, Eastern would have the density. But he's going for Swamp. And it's funny saying Eastern has the density because, you know, Swamp definitely has more items, but, you know, because of the fact that he doesn't have the hook shot and because of the fact that he hasn't even touched Eastern yet, that would technically give him more checks in Eastern before that hook shot block in Swamp.
Zelda now going to make the Swamp play. So we're gonna see it's either in Swamp or it's Armo's Armo's Green Pendant. I think those are the only locations left.
I think you are correct in that. I think we've seen every other location in the game at this point. So It is literally down to either two of those general directions, Swamp or Eastern. And see, the thing is, I mean, you know, if once Illus gets done with Turtle Rock, like, obviously there's a Spike Cave check, might also have some other overworld stuff to check as well. But at this point, I feel like Swamp would be the better play for Illus because he's gotten and dipped Eastern for a lot of the stuff already. There's only the Armos and Green Pendant left, but I think at that point there's still more in Swamp that would be available to him.
Yeah, not only that, Illus already knows that Pedestal is empty as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Illus pausing there for a moment. Same realization that, oh boy, I found the ice rod. Now I can get the last item in here. We'll take a second to say that was a really, really nice Phase 1 of Trinex for Illus there, being very, very aggressive, but also very accurate and effective with getting those hits on Trinex.
Yeah, that was just a great fight. Not to get 10 arrows.
Mm-hmm. And yep, of course, because still on the mountain, still has one check to make. Illus going over to Spike Cave next.
Oh, there's that big key.
Well, we really could have a vanilla hookshot today in every sense of the word.
With all the checks, we know it's a 25% chance now.
Yeah, I know, right? That's crazy.
$33%?
Yep.
Am I saying that right? No, now it's 25 because it can be big chest, Armos. No, 33%.
Yeah, you're right. 33. Yeah.
Armos, green pendant, or big chest.
Okay, Illus checking the shovel. A part of me is just really saying, if this isn't the hook shot, it's the hook shot.
Oh my god.
If it wasn't though, I was just thinking, go to Eastern. That way you can make this a race. But it's gonna be the vanilla big chest in Swamp Palace. Zelgadissan is in go mode around 1 hour 31 minutes. Just gonna need to finish off these last few dungeons here, and Illus is making the play to Swamp next, not getting baited by the green pendant, and we'll be in go mode within the next couple of minutes. But Zelga does have kind of the lead at the moment. and we'll have that advantage of getting into Ganon's tower first.
Zelda making quick work of Argus and now going to the tower and finding another bottle.
Oh, that's all four. So with that, our lovely tracker Slowpoke has went ahead and typed a command in chat, which is prompting all of you guys to just type in a whole bunch of numbers. Wired Wiki, what's going on? Why are there so many numbers being pressed?
Well, because we are playing a little game called Where is the Ganon's Tower Big Key? And we have 22 locations. So either the big key is between 1 or 22, and everyone is guessing. So, Kirby, what is your guess?
I'm gonna guess 8. I always go for 8.
Nice. I usually go for 9 or 14, so I'm gonna go with 9 now.
Okay. Fair enough.
Speaking of our tracker, by the way, Slowpoke is doing the tracking today for this race, and a big thanks for doing an amazing work, for doing some good stuff there.
Yeah, definitely. Trackers really help us out when making these calls on commentary. It's always good to see those items down there. It gets kind of a head, not really a head start, but you know, more time to look at those map checks. So it's always great to have them. Definitely hasn't been slow at all in marking the items on the tracker. So definitely major thanks for that.
Alright, and we're in Ganon's Tower. Let's see where this big key is hiding.
I'm going to start with the very conventional hope room checks. This is where you hope the big key is going to be. You get a small key and a red rupee, and with that small key, Zelda is taking the opportunity to check the right side. Okay, so we are through the first 6 checks, have not found it yet, not on the right side unless it happens to be in tile room. But nobody wants to check tile room early, so we're going to save that probably for last, actually definitely last at this point. And we're going to the left side, just a red rupee on the torch, that is number 7.
Yeah, tile room is something you just don't want to see.
definitely paid off for people before, for sure, in these races, but it's not... doesn't happen a lot, so it's a very risky play to make. And there it is, chest number 11.
Yeah, so congrats to Icy for being the first one guessing the right number.
And with that, Zelga is going to now just focus on the execution-heavy part of the run as he climbs Ganon's tower. You know, does have Master Sword that will not be as effective as some of the other swords he could have gotten, but he has silvers, he has half magic with the Fire Rod, he has a lot of different opportunities to use different items as he's climbing this tower, so as long as he kind of keeps his composure, he should be fine. Illus just got the hook shot, so finishing up his run of Swamp House. He'll be joining Zelga in GT shortly.
Yes, and I think, I mean, I can only assume that Zelga is still gonna be opening chests hoping for a sword upgrade.
Yeah. The difference between Master Sword and Tempered Sword is pretty significant. Don't have to worry about spins as much as just normal sword slashes, so definitely want to pick up a sword if you can, but we'll be able to do this fight without him if needed.
Yeah, both of these runners are definitely capable of doing Master Sword, but I mean, Tempered is really, really convenient.
Now, if he had Tempered, yeah, he'd just probably go straight through and not even care about that gold sword, because the difference between gold and Tempered is not very much at all, so... At this point, I mean, we saw Zelga kind of in the mid-game, definitely found a really, really nice trail of progression at one point, you know, getting all of his items except for that remaining hook shot. You know, he's got to be feeling good about that. Probably does not feel that great about the pendant dips, but little does he know that his opponent also made those same dips as well, so just kind of has to keep things going and try not to think about how long it's been and how fast he could have completed this.
Meanwhile, Illus having a bit of trouble with beating this Argus. Finally did it though. Can only imagine Illus feeling the pressure of being behind at this point.
I mean, much like in the same boat that Zelga probably feels like Illus went all the way through Turtle Rock and Ice Palace and, you know, got pretty close to full clearing Eastern as well. So he's definitely done a lot of work in this seed for the Pendant Dungeons, having absolutely nothing whatsoever.
Oh, that's not a sword. But it's a cane.
Guess you could try using it as a sword, but I don't think it'd work in this case. Oh, nice triple there for Zelga.
Double to follow it up, only one more hit.
It should be easy enough. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Blasting off to Ganon's the Ganon fight now.
And I have to do Ganon's tower again. No, it's only Ganon left here.
This isn't door rando. Don't think that's how that'd work anyway, but still.
Oh, that's really cool Somaria strats there to get the double spins in.
I say this all the time when I'm commentating these races. It's amazing the tech and some of the strats these runners and just players of the game have figured out, because it looks so cool and it's so effective. Like, the tools in this game work so well to do stuff like this. It's incredible.
And there we go. Zelda making quick work of Ganon and beating the seed. GG's to Zelda.
Yeah, GG's, and definitely GG's to Illus as well, putting up a great fight, not just in the series, but just for the the entire tournament so far, as Zelda finishes the race and clocks in with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 23 seconds. Get your GG's in chat, everyone. Zelda is moving on to the top 8 to face Ninban.
That's gonna be a really good matchup.
That will be a very good matchup. Anyway, I do see Zelda in the waiting room here, so I'm going to go ahead and pull him in here for a very quick interview. And we are being joined by Zelgadissan, the winner of this race. GG, congrats on making it to top 8. How are you feeling today, sir?
Oh, man, I am feeling very stressed at how long it took me to find that hook shot. But, I mean, it's such an awful place that I'm not surprised that it took both of us a very long time.
Yeah, for sure. You play Randomizer, the last thing you expect in Randomizer is to put an item at its vanilla location. Always annoying when it happens, but, very in the realm of possibility. And yeah, I can bet you were stressed because, for a while there, you were really just kind of on a roll, picking up item after item. It seemed like each new place you went to had something of value. It was going very good there for a while.
Yeah, there, especially in the kind of the mid game, I felt pretty good. It was probably before Pod and Eastern, I was feeling kind of iffy. But then the Fire Rod, and then that led to the bow. So, and then there's a Titan's Mitts there, but I still can't believe there was nothing behind the Titan's Mitts. That's why I was so sure. I skipped Eastern, A, thinking Illus probably did it, and B, thinking that there had to be something behind the Titan's Mitts. And Turtle Rock and Ice were both entirely empty. Mire was entirely empty except for Desert Info. I just could not believe it.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Something I personally didn't even consider. But yeah, all 3 pendant dungeons were absolutely useless. Obviously, we did no idea what's... because both of you did all of Turtle Rock and Ice Palace. Illus did most of Eastern. Didn't go back once he got the bow. So, there's still 2 items back there. Potentially a sword upgrade in one of those, but, just as likely for GT as well. Pendants, absolutely useless. Mitts, as you already pointed out, did not really amount to much of anything. As far as other noteworthy things, Illus did kind of take a bit of a lead at first, just with a little more efficient checking. But I think the part that really kind of puts you ahead was, instead of going to Eastern, you decided to check Magic Bat, and that gave you the mirror, which led you back up the Death Mountain. That's where things really kind of started taking off, and you pretty much had a lead since then, I'd say.
Okay, that makes sense. I was feeling pretty bad about my Light World, especially after the fiasco in the Dark Sewers, trying to find that stupid key rat.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point that I never rescued the old man on the mountain, because when I first went up there, I was so worried about the dark stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got the lamp, I just figured, well, it's probably not there, and if it is, well, I'm screwed, because obviously Illus has done this. But yeah, it was one of those things where I've actually, earlier in this tournament even, I kind of got screwed by putting off the Magic Bat whenever I got the hammer and the powder. And with the flute, it felt like it was just a really good idea to hurry back there. And I guess that's kind of what paid off.
Yeah, I mean, it really did. That gave you the mirror, led you to the mountain where the other remaining Dark World items were. And then, yeah, from there, the sea just kind of took off. And, it kind of, it's weird to think about that. Like, once you did kind of get into Dark World, like, everything was pretty much available. Like, you obviously had to get the bow from, get the boots from Zora to get the bow from King's Tomb, and that kind of unlocked the stuff that was in Pod, which led to the hook shot, I guess. But still, everything else was just, like, pretty much, like, within reach to some extent.
Yeah, I felt really bad about those boots, too, because actually that King's Tomb bow was my silvers. I actually got the first bow in Skull Woods.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, as soon as I found that, I realized the flippers were logical, so I wanted to hurry up and find some stuff behind there. And getting the Master Sword and the boots were things that I felt I could have had earlier, and it felt pretty bad, but yeah, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I think what kind of held up Illus was the fact that he actually did go to the Zora area relatively early, but was just like 20 rupees short, so couldn't quite make the purchase. So he got the boots actually even later than you, just because of that. But yeah, he ended up getting the other bow first, I believe.
Yeah, that's even worse than what happened to me, because if you go up there and you do everything else but Zora, you almost never have a reason to go back. So that's really unfortunate. And honestly, I feel really bad for Illus, because both of these seeds came down to the hookshot being in really dumb locations. And in seed 1, he believed hookshot was swamp, and this time I did, and both times I was right, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah. That's the way Rando goes sometimes, though.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of how the game is. It's just, you hate whenever things get decided by one or two little things like that, but so often in Rando, that's how it is. Just one or two decisions really kind of start snowballing.
Yeah, I mean, as you pointed out, that's pretty much what kind of happened, like, in game 1. Like, yeah, there were some things, some calls that he made that were a little more efficient than yours, but then the one that really paid off was the one that counted. But Illus is on phase 4 of Ganon now, getting ready to finish up this fight very, very soon. And with that, Illus has finished up his run with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 51 minutes exactly. And we are joined by Illus. GG, tough luck. Definitely gave this tournament a heck of a run. How are you feeling after that seed?
GG. I feel like Rando was mocking me in my best of 3 against Zelda, because the decision I did last time burnt me, and it would have been right this time. Yeah, that just sometimes happens.
Yeah, that's unfortunately the way it goes with randos sometimes, and one time it can definitely play to your benefits, and then next time it doesn't, as evidence from the game one. And even just kind of the little things, some of the little things, like obviously one of the big things that happened was maybe not a major thing because there was another one obviously available not too far, but the going to Zora and just being just barely short, even
Yeah.
of getting those boots, that could have actually made up a
Yeah.
lot of time in the long run.
I should have picked up one of those big 20s that I I skipped. Yeah, that just sometimes happened. I wasn't too keen on going back to Zora, but I somehow did Ice Palace early, so I figured I could go back, and there were the boots. And when I figured out that the bow was behind the boots, I was kind of sad. But yeah, overall, I'm not too salty or anything. I think Zelda's a great runner. He can win this whole thing. Carry on our hopes and dreams, Zelda.
I'll do my best. That's basically how I would have felt if I had been the loser of the series as well. It's like everyone that's left in this tournament is an amazing runner, and there's no shame in losing to anybody at this point. So, yeah, just try and carry on to the best we can.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely wish you the best of luck in your future series. Oh,
Thanks, and I know you're still in the German tournament as well, so hopefully you can continue on there.
I'm looking forward to playing that inverted hard mode key sanity swordless.
I gotta be honest, I don't miss the fact that that's not an option in this tournament.
I don't know. To me, that just sounds like all the fun rules are over in the German tournament. I don't know. Just
It depends. Like, I really like some of the modes. I really don't like some of the modes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It just it was some kind of ban system, and we banned like the nicest options, so we get the worst seed possible. That was kind of silly, but yeah. I'm trying to win the German tournament at least. I think that's possible. We gotta get past some of the heavy hitters that are partially still in the tournament, like Yoshi, for example. If I get further, of course. And yeah, I guess I can concentrate on that. I had a good run here, beat a lot of good people, and was almost undefeated actually, until Zelda came and defeated me twice. So yeah, I'm happy with how I performed overall.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to imagine, like, for qualifiers, there are around 300 people who signed up, getting through qualifiers, getting through group stage, and 16th seed. That's pretty high up there. So very well done on the performance for this tournament. Did a really good job. That like Zelga said, very high competitive play in these tournaments for sure. So could have gone. Honestly, could have gone either way if just like one decision paid off and the other one didn't. So definitely gave it a heck of a run. And GG on making it this far, top 16, pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you.
And with that, Zelga, you are going to be going on to face Ninban in your top 8 matchup. Any thoughts about that before we start wrapping things up here?
Ninban is just another great runner. I know we've often done a lot of like weeklies or things together. Occasionally I'll be ahead of him, occasionally he'll be ahead of me. So it's going to be another series of good runners and all sorts of coin flips, and we'll just see what happens. I have high expectations of both of us.
I think your favorite. Don't turn in ban.
That sounds good. We'll keep an eye out for those matches as they appear on the schedule later on, probably in the next week. Anything you got to add, Wired Wiki, before we start heading off here?
Nothing much. I think you covered all the questions I had in mind as well. The only thing I wanted to point out was, it's funny but also not funny, is that earlier in the game Zelda did TR, and earlier Illus did Ice Palace, and then you both could either go to EP Swamp or, well, for Zelda Turtle Rock, and for Zelda IP and for Illus Turtle Rock, and you both went for the other pendant dungeon. So while Zelda was dipping into IP, while we knew there was nothing in there, Illus decided to go to Turtle Rock at the same time, which was kind of funny to see, because I mean, we had the information, there was nothing there, and like we all in chat were like, oh no. But I mean,
yeah.
it happens. It happens. But
Like
other than that,
Turtle Rock was definitely the high percent play, and I came this far not by doing stupid checks like Hookless Swamp Palace, if it's not exactly necessary.
yeah, fair point. It was definitely an understandable play, nevertheless. But yeah, I just wanted to point it out. And other than that, I just want to say GG's to the both of you. Illus, you had a great run, and Zelda is good luck with your future matches. And I want to once again give a shout out to Slowpoke the tracker, who has done an amazing job, and my co-commentator here, Slim Kirby. So thank you for commentating this with me. It was I had a blast.
Oh, well, thank you. I had a blast too. A lot of fun commentating this. Maybe we'll share the mic sometime in the future. But yeah, I guess that'll do it for us. Gonna look at the schedule just very quickly. Funnily enough, we are actually done with matches today. There was supposed to be a match later on at 8:20, but that match was no longer needed because it was a Game 3 scenario, and it decided earlier today. So next match will be tomorrow at 4:20. I believe that is going to be Game 2 of P-Train versus Yagamoth, which Game 1, I believe, just finished off or is in the process of finishing right now. So come back if you want to watch that. That should be on the main Speed Gaming channel. And with that, this has been Slim Kirby. Thank you for watching, everybody. We will catch you later on another randomizer race, and see you guys next time.